Hello, you're listening to Overwhelm is Optional. Hello, in today's episode we're going to talk about stopping the shoulds. So when I woke up this morning, I felt pelted by shoulds, almost before I'd really woken up. So I haven't been feeling that well, bit of a cold, and of course anytime I have a bit of a cold at the moment, it's, oh my god, is it the virus? And it's just, it just adds some pressure, hey? So I hope that you're well at this, interesting time in our lives. And I really want to take some of the pressure off you by just drawing attention to how many shoulds you're allowing to sit on you. So when I woke up this morning, I woke up a little bit too early, not feeling 100% yet because I've been a bit under the weather. And what happened was I very quickly realised my mind had hijacked my day with, you should have done this, you ought to have done this, all the stuff I'm behind on because I had a birthday, so I took some time off, and then I haven't been feeling too good, and stuff happens. It's life always has more we can do, hey? I don't think there's often that I get to the end of a to-do list unless I make my to-do list have an end, which is also another method I've been practicing. But let's just stay with the shoulds for now. So these shoulds were pelting me, and I caught my mind in the act of pelting me with these shoulds. And it's now that I realise, because I've been reflecting on this since that time, a few hours ago, and I realised that in the past I didn't catch the pelting of the shoulds, and that my continued purposeful practice of taking my training in mindfulness of the body from my Zen yoga training and deliberately applying it to solving this problem of overwhelm and the stress, overwhelm, exhaustion cycle that caused me for many years to live on the verge of just hanging in there. This verge, I call it surfing the verge of breakdown, where I was really high functioning, achieving my goals, but it was secretly, actually I'm going to rephrase that, secretly surfing the verge of breakdown. So I was aware that I was doing that, but not aware enough to, well, I was aware, but I didn't really know what to do about it. So I did a lot of searching and Googling for, ways to solve the problem of the low energy, the problem of, not a lot of unwellness, a lot of picking up of viruses, or a lot of training injuries. If I did physical exercise, not even particularly harsh, I'd end up with weird injuries or lopsidedness in my body where something wasn't quite. So I was always trying to solve stuff, with my head. I was always Googling stuff, and a lot of it worked for a time, but then something else would happen. So I was just aware that I was, and when I mean secretly surfing, I mean that verge of breakdown, that verge of I'm just about hanging in there. You can get really good. I got really good at surfing that, really good at kind of like realising I was moving towards it, because I'd get sick or I'd explode when I got home getting into an argument. I'd get very demanding. I'd start going to bed earlier and earlier, desperately trying to just get enough sleep so I could get through the next day without breaking down, because I didn't want anyone to know. I was ashamed. I'm so self-reliant and feisty and determined and wanting to achieve my goals and wanting to have this full, wonderful life, which is quite right. I think this is really important that we don't lose that we stay with I want to live big, I want to achieve my dreams and my goals and make a difference, make the world happier, but it doesn't work. It didn't work for me, that secretly surfing that verge of breakdown, because that was damaging me. It was crushing my heart because I was out of alignment with what I needed, and it definitely damaged my body and my very health and well-being, and also my relationships and the time off I had from work. It was getting harder and harder to remember to have fun and to really get involved in things. But I still did tons of exciting things. So that's what I mean by that secretly surfing. It's like nobody would have really have known. Not really. You know, if somebody said to me, you're not really coping, I can see that you're secretly surfing this verge of breakdown, I would have gone, no. Actually, I don't know now. If somebody's used those words, I think I would have gone, oh my God, that's amazing. How do you know that? Because I was such a high achiever that would have been really perceptive. But anyway, that's hindsight, hey? So I want to look today at how shoulding yourself adds to this surfing that verge of just about hanging in there. That being so overwhelmed that actually we just can't see what to do. So we try lots of things and that adds to the overwhelm. So just examining one part of that overwhelm is this shoulding, because a lot of the stuff that contributes to that secretly surfing the verge of breakdown, that contributes to that horrible overwhelm, a lot of that is not our stuff. So shoulds are interesting, aren't they? Should I do this or should I do that? Often, I think it comes down to different things. I think one of them is the need to keep everyone around us happy. And that's, you know, if you're a parent or, I don't know, if you're anybody really, I guess. But particularly, I guess, I can only speak from my experience. So as a mother, I have often felt like I'm the linchpin of the family. So that needing to keep everybody happy, that for years was my fundamental mode of operating. How can I keep everyone happy? And that would often result in me being not very happy because I'd be so overwhelmed with trying to do it all and then not feeling appreciated. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do any of the things you do to keep your family happy or to keep your friends happy. I just want to draw attention to it because I don't think the key is that I tell you to not should yourself. I think the key is that you work out for yourself. But that's hard, so I'm going to just give you, this is what I do. I just want to draw attention to the fact that you might be shoulding yourself. Because it's heavy, it's exhausting, you can't keep doing it, it doesn't really work. There's an easier path for you. I don't know what your easier path is, but I do know that tuning into your body can help you because your body has the answers. So, for example, this morning when I woke up, and I don't know how many minutes it was of my mind planning my day around getting rid of the weight of the shoulds. And I think this is important. The shoulds feel heavy in my body. So finding out where they are for you, what they feel like is really important. Just being aware of that because carrying it is exhausting. Particularly when you're carrying, if the shoulds are like other people's stuff that they've put onto you, that you've absorbed from other people, that you've allowed them to manipulate you into doing, or you thought it was a good thing, you were just trying to be nice. It's not like terrible evil manipulation. Sometimes it is. Sometimes we just go, yeah, of course I'll do that for you, because we're human and we like helping people. Part of joy, part of living well is helping other people. It makes us feel good. It's an essential part of our nature as humans. But you have to look after yourself first. So that waking up and realising I was being shoulded, that's interesting, isn't it? Being shoulded, because who am I being shoulded by? I would argue that the shoulding came from my mind, and my mind had created that from some deep anxiety. And I think on examination, that anxiety is coming from wanting to be accepted, wanting to be loved, wanting to be liked, wanting to feel that I'm okay to other people. So my responsibilities or the things I've said I've done, it's important to me to to behave with integrity, to keep my promises, to do what I say I'm going to do. But sometimes stuff gets in the way, and it's harder to do that. It's not always possible, is it? With the best intentions, sometimes we let each other down. So that shoulding that happened, and this all happened happened probably within 20 minutes. I'd sorted this out. And the reason I'm sharing this is remarkable for me. This isn't me showing off, going, look at me, I'm brilliant. I got out of shoulding myself and I started my day in a better way. The purpose of sharing this is, God, you don't want to spend as many years as I did secretly surfing that verge of just about hanging in there, because you don't know how to get out of the shoulding. So I'm sharing this because this works, and I'm like super excited. When I got up and had a shower, I was like, oh my God, I've just moved on so much from even like a year ago or 6 months ago, or possibly even like 2 months ago, because it's cumulative. The effects for me and the people I work with, it's cumulative. This taking part of your day and moving your focus into your body and just noticing how you are, noticing what's going on for you, that has a cumulative effect because it increases your awareness. It is mindfulness, but it's mindfulness of the body, which for me is just such an amazing tool. I just absolutely love it. And the more I practice it, the more I teach it, the more I coach people in it, the more excited I get, because it is the route to freedom. Because it is enough to just notice. So I often think it's really difficult, isn't it? If you're going through, if you become aware that you have a problem, like you're secretly surfing the verge of breakdown, you've got all these goals, you don't want to give anything up, you love your life, but it's just exhausting. You can't keep, just about hanging in there and then recovering enough with a glass of wine in the evening and then getting up and doing it all again, or just about recovering on a holiday and then not quite, it's just too hard. There's got to be an easier way, hey? And I found my easier way, what I call, and lots of people call, obviously, my path of least resistance, where I stop pushing and I just find a way through obstacles rather than pushing them out of the way. I was so feisty, fighting. And it's exciting because, I'm really passionate, so I'll fight for things that I believe in. It's absolutely exhausting, and it damaged my health, and it crushed my heart, it crushed my spirit. And it's just easier to tune into my body, and I do this all the time, because I've purposely practiced it and attached it to things I do anyway, like cleaning my teeth, having a shower, waking up, going to sleep, eating, drinking, walking, all these things, just stuff we do anyway, because I'm all about, God, you got to make it simple. I taught maths to difficult teenagers 4 years. You got to make it. Yeah, I honed my teaching on a tough crowd. So I'm all about how easy can you make it, how simple, and how damn impactful. So for me, not getting into the lotus position, I can't get into the lotus position, but I don't need to get into the lotus position is my point, because you might want to, that's up to you. But the aim is not to be able to sit in the lotus position. The aim is to be able to control your focus so you can live more skillfully. So for me, I've moved away from sitting for a long time because my body was screaming at me. It was really hurting my knees. And instead to incorporating that state, that meditative state, that tuning in, and I use my body to tune in. And lots of people do, but this is my take on it, because we all have a unique way of doing it. And this now is working. So I've done purposeful practice, building up, teaching it, honing it, refining it, trying to solve problems with it. Instead of using my mind to solve it, I've got into my body, and this asking my body what it needs. So this is how I start my day. So every day I ask my body, what does my body need today? What do I need? So I'm tuning in. What does my body need? Does my body need to move more? So where I haven't been feeling great for a few days, I've sat more than I like to. So I can feel this, like, it's almost like a springiness. I need to move in my hips. I'm just like, my body needs to move. Now, before, I wouldn't have noticed that. So if I think about the time when I was secretly surfing this verge of breakdown, I wouldn't have noticed, because I was so intent on pushing through, because when I was feeling overwhelmed with all these shoulds, what I wanted to do, what I thought was the answer, was get rid of the shoulds. So if I meet all my obligations, if I tick off everything on my to-do list, the shoulds will go and I won't feel anxious anymore. I won't have this pressure. It will go. Everybody will be happy with me. I'll be a success. I'll be safe. I'll be loved. I'll be accepted. Load of rubbish. Because if that does happen and somebody actually notices you've done a good job, or notices you've done something kind for them, it's a very temporary thing. And it's very fragile, isn't it? You know, you do a good job, somebody notices if you're lucky, but then somebody else comes along and does a better job. So it's just too temporary. It doesn't really work. And also there is no end to those shoulds, and completing those shoulds costs too much. The sacrifice is too high. It damaged my body. So I would end up sitting, staring at a screen, getting my work done, and sitting for too long. And then because I was so utterly exhausted, I'd end up sitting too much when I got home. And this resulted for me in a lot of physical pain, which I then Googled to solve and spent ages solving. So now what I love about this method of tuning into my body and listening is that I do something before it gets to that stage. And this to me is amazing, because I'm 52 and I don't have a lot of the problems I had with my neck, my back, my hips, my feet. Just like, you know, if I look back over my whole life, my first hurt my back when I was 14. It was absolute agony. I saw a chiropractor for years. You know, it's just, if I look throughout my life, there's always been something wrong. You know, what's wrong with my body now? What do I need to do now? Who do I need to make an appointment to? What stretches do I need to learn? What fitness routine do I need to fix myself? And now I just have this utter freedom in, I tune in and I listen. And what's really interesting for me is it's the power of just the noticing. So often when we notice something's wrong, we add to our overwhelm and our to-do list because it's another problem to solve. But what I am finding, and what the people I'm working with are finding, the people I'm coaching, people in my courses, is that the power of just noticing is quite extraordinary. And I love this, because how lovely and simple is that? Doesn't add to your to-do list. So tuning in, noticing. This morning, I noticed the shoulds, and just noticing them was like stopping the avalanche, because it literally felt like I was being pelted, and I was like, I don't like shoulds. It's not right. This is not how I want to live my life. So what's going on? And then later I was able to examine them separately. And then I also noticed, what does my body need? My body needs to move more today. And just the noticing, there's less tightness in my hips. Just from noticing. I can't explain that to you. Well, I expect I probably could attempt to explain it, because I do have a lot of knowledge. But I don't want to explain it, because that gets me into my head, gets you into your head. And it doesn't need to be that hard. It doesn't need to be some mystical thing. Noticing without judging what's going on in your body is like holding the space and listening to a friend. It's remarkable, isn't it, when somebody really hears you? Even if they don't really say anything, they just hold the space and they really listen. If you do that to your body just kind of starts to ease. It's like, oh, you noticed. Thank you. I feel loved. And love is a hugely, hugely powerful energy. We know this. So, that whole awareness of your shoulds, you don't even have to do anything with your shoulds. Just start by noticing. How much are you shoulding yourself? So if you're feeling really overwhelmed, how much of that is shoulds? Just notice. And if you want to, you can tune into your body, and then you can notice what the shoulds feel like physically. So the physical sensations of your shoulds, where are you keeping them? So like my physical sensation this morning of my shoulds was it felt like I was being pelted on top of my head. I guess a bit like really big raindrops. If you've been in a tropical rainstorm, really big raindrops, a bit like that. And I noticed, and I first of all got involved in an argument with my mind, a rejection, a pushing away of the shoulds. And then I just noticed I'm shoulding myself. And that for me gave me a lot of space. But what I did with that space, I don't think is important. I think what's important is just that step of noticing. Are you shoulding yourself?